Hey guys, welcome back to Learn English by Reading. My name is Reese from EnglishWithReese.com. If this video is too fast for you, there is a button to slow it down. If you look in the bottom right hand corner, you will see a button to slow it down and make it easier to follow. This is on YouTube, but it might be on other apps too. So let's get into today's article. It's called The Most Beautiful Cities in the World to Visit in Your Lifetime. It's by Sarah DeMarco and it's from Veranda on the 24th of March 2023. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The most beautiful cities in the world to visit in your lifetime. When we talk about your lifetime, we mean the time that you're alive. Okay, it might be 80 years, it might be 90 years if you're lucky. If you're super lucky, 100 years could be your lifetime. It's different for everyone. But they're saying we should visit these beautiful cities in our lifetime. So this is a list of 5 cities that you should visit. The first one is Chiang Mai, Thailand. Chiang Mai, a former trading outpost surrounded by vast mountain ranges, offers a mix of vibrant city life and picturesque landscapes. We've got a few big words already, guys. How about this one? Former. Former has the same meaning as ex, ex. You know, this is my former friend. We're not friends anymore. I'm a former teenager. I'm not a teenager anymore. And here it's saying that Chiang Mai was a former trading outpost. It's not a trading outpost anymore. So what's a trading outpost? When we talk about trading in terms of economics, we're talking about swapping things, right? Most of the time, we're swapping an item for some money. But it doesn't have to be. We could swap some carrots for some leeks, for example. And an outpost is just a place where that's done, okay? Think of it like a trading house or a trading spot. So Chiang Mai used to be a spot for trading things, surrounded by vast mountain ranges. Okay, you may know the word mountain already, sort of a giant hill like Mount Everest, right? But a mountain range refers to groups of mountains together. So the Alps couldn't be described as a mountain, but it could be described as a mountain range. How about this word, vast? When something is vast, it is extremely large, okay? It goes on for a long, long way. So when I look across the ocean, that is a vast distance. That's going on a really long way. The same as when I look up at the moon. That's an even further way. But I could also say that this gentleman has vast knowledge on, I don't know, maths. You know, his knowledge is so big about maths. So here the mountain ranges are just really, really big. And Chiang Mai offers a mix of vibrant city life. When we say vibrant in this context, we're saying it's full of life, it's full of energy. Okay, you might think of cities in your own country. Okay, so some around the world that are vibrant and famously so could be New York. New York is very busy, it's full of many different interesting things and interesting people. It's vibrant. And the same can be said for Chiang Mai. Okay, our next word is picturesque. The easiest way to think about this one is take a picture. If you want to take a picture of something, it must mean it looks really nice, it looks really beautiful. It is picturesque. And then the landscape is just a nice image of the land. You know, when we look out, we see all the hills, or maybe even desert, or to be honest, even ocean, you know, when we look out that way. And that's why this is landscape, okay? When we take a photo, this way would be portrait, and this way would be landscape, because this way is better for taking pictures of landscapes, and portrait is better for taking pictures of faces, your portrait. Let's continue. Explore the sacred Wat Palad temple complex during a day hike through the forest and indulge in the city's food and beverage scene. Okay, what have we got here? Sacred. We're often talking about something religious or something related to God or a god. So that's what this is. Wat is Thai for the word temple. So that's why you usually see that in the names of temples in Thailand. We're actually just adding temple for English speakers. So Wat Palat is Palat temple. And then complex, we're talking about a lot of buildings together. So maybe Wat Palat temple is actually a few temples together. You know, I live in an apartment building, but this isn't the only building in this area. You know, I have to pass through a gate, and inside are 15 tall apartment buildings. So this area is also a complex. Then we have hike. Okay, a hike is a lovely activity where you walk through nature, quite often up mountains or up hills. And we have this word, indulge. Okay, so really jump into something and really enjoy it. That's what indulge means. So, you know what? I'm going to indulge in this pizza dinner tonight. You know, I'm not going to worry about how fattening it is. I'm just going to jump in and enjoy it as much as I can. So, I think we know what food is, but maybe some of you don't know about beverage. Beverage is just a fancy way to say drink. Okay, so coffee is a beverage, water is a beverage, and beer is a beverage. So it says we have a food and beverage scene. The rising art scene includes modern galleries like the Gongdi Gallery. Let's move on. The second city that you should visit before you die is Cape Town in South Africa. Cape Town, shadowed by Table Mountain and bordered by the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, combines city bustle with natural beauty. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's start with shadowed. If you're shadowed, it means you are in a shadow. Simple as that. So maybe the spider under the tree is shadowed by the tree's leaves, for example. And Cape Town is shadowed by Table Mountain and bordered by the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. Let's look at a picture for this one. So the border is where two places meet. And in this sentence, we're talking about the land and the ocean. You know, on one side, we have the Indian Ocean, and on the other side, we have the Atlantic Ocean. And you know, every country has borders, even my country. So I'm from Wales in the UK, and my country is bordered by England on one side and the ocean on the other side. So then we have this one, combines, to put things together. Okay, so let's take my glasses, for example. My glasses are made of two things, metal and glass. Okay, now the glass on its own isn't very good, and the metal on its own isn't very good, but we can combine the glass with the metal to create glasses, right? So what we're combining in Cape Town is the city bustle with natural beauty. So bustle, you can think of the word busy. There's also a phrase, hustle and bustle, okay? Usually pronounced as hustle and bustle. So when we say hustle and bustle, we just mean the busyness of something. So we can say the hustle and bustle of modern life, or the hustle and bustle of New York streets, for example. I don't know why New York is on my mind, but I think it's a good example to use. It's quite a famous place. Visit Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden to learn about native flora, explore the colourful Beau Cap neighbourhood, and enjoy diverse cuisines at the Neighbour Goods Market. Okay. So when we talk about botanical things, remember that's an adjective. We're talking about plants. So you can see here we have botanical garden. Now here's something you may not know. A zoo is a zoological garden. That's the full name. Not many people use it, but it's the full name. It means an animal garden. So botanical, plant, zoological, animal. To learn about native flora. And flora means plants. Again, actually flora means the plants of the local area. So you can go to Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden to learn about the plants that naturally grow in the area. You can also explore the colourful Beau Cap neighbourhood. A few of you will have noticed the spelling of the word colourful here. So here on English with Reese, I mainly focus on British English. Okay, I am British, so that's what I teach. I also think it's useful in more places than American English, which is why I teach that way. But this article is American, or it's using American English. So in British English, we would put a U in colourful, like this. But in American, they take that U away. It's up to you whether you think that's a good idea or not. I don't think one English is better than the other, but they do have differences. And enjoy diverse cuisines. Okay, cuisine is a fancy word for dishes or meals. And diverse means lots of different kinds. So I don't know the neighbor goods market, but maybe they have African food, they have European food, American food, and Asian food. That could be an example of diverse cuisine. But of course, Africa is a big place, and even South Africa has different cultures within it. So they could be diverse in that way, meals from the different cultures. Don't miss the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary Art, Africa, to discover African artists. Okay, the word in here to show you is contemporary. I think this would more often be pronounced as contemporary. We take that ruri out and we change it to re, so contemporary. But you can say it whichever way you want. I think some people are just a bit lazy. I'm talking about native English speakers. A lot of us are lazy when we talk to each other. So instead of contemporary, we might say contemporary. Contemporary means modern. Okay, we're talking about modern art, the art of today. Our next location is Istanbul in Turkey. Istanbul's gardens and ornate buildings showcase opulence and ancient beauty. The city's history connects the East and West with preserved landmarks like the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque. Explore the city's rich heritage and artistic treasures. We have a few big words here, I think. I think our first one is ornate. It just means that it's been highly decorated, maybe with lots of little details. And if you've been to Istanbul, you'll notice this. In the Hagia Sophia, for example, there are patterns everywhere that I'm sure took years and years and years to finish. These are ornate buildings. And they showcase, you probably know this part, show. It's the same meaning here. They showcase opulence, which means wealth, being rich. Now remember, at one point in time, Turkey was the richest country in the world, and a lot of these buildings are from that time. So it was an opulent time. And ancient beauty, ancient, just extremely old, okay? The city's history connects the East and West, okay? So we have that word connect, similar to combine. It's where two things meet. My hands connect now. And if you know much about Istanbul, one of the main facts you hear is that some of the city is in Asia and some of the city is in Europe. And you can actually take a bridge between the two. So that's what we mean by East and West. West we mean Europe and the Americas, and then East we usually mean Asia by that. So that's where they connect. With preserved landmarks, when you preserve something, you keep it as it is for a long time. So you look after it for a long time. Let's talk about preserved. When you preserve something, you try to keep something as it is in good condition for as long as possible. Okay, so some things haven't been changed, or they've only been changed to keep them from falling apart, such as the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque. They're very old buildings, so they look after these buildings. Maybe they repair them if they really need to, but they try to just look after them and keep them strong. Explore the city's rich heritage. So we've got the word rich here again, but it's a different meaning. It just means a lot of something here, and it's a lot of heritage. Heritage meaning links to the past. Okay, so for example, as I mentioned earlier, I'm from Wales. Some things are in my heritage. So for example, certain recipes or even the Welsh language that many of us don't speak anymore is part of my heritage. It's like a gift from the past to the future. Okay, so Istanbul has a lot of rich heritage and artistic treasures. Next up, we have Kyoto, Japan. Kyoto, the old capital of Japan, exudes a sense of history with cherry blossoms, craft shops, and bustling food markets. Okay, so I think we should start with exude. If something exudes, it has a strong atmosphere or a strong feeling of something. So here, Kyoto exudes, it has a strong feeling of a sense of history. And that's also what sense means. It's also a feeling. So we could say Kyoto exudes history, but instead we're saying Kyoto gives a feeling of history. So when you say it that way, it's a bit strange, but this is kind of normal too. The way they've written exudes a sense of history. So you can use that in your own writing too. So Kyoto exudes a sense of history with cherry blossoms. And cherry blossoms are those beautiful pink petals on trees. So, you know, Japan is very famous for cherry blossoms. We also get them in different places, like in China too. Next, we have craft shops. So, craft means to make. Okay, it could be a noun to describe the thing you are making, or it could be a verb to describe making that thing. And when we craft, we're usually talking about making something a bit arty. Okay, so think about the game Minecraft. A lot of you will know it. That has two main features. You mine and you craft. You make things. So it's the same here. So a craft shop is usually owned by the person who makes some things. Maybe they make paintings. Maybe they make magnets and badges and things like that. These are the kinds of shops you can find in Kyoto. And bustling food markets. We saw a similar word earlier. So bustling just means busy. Okay, remember hustle and bustle. Enjoy modern spins on classic Japanese dishes and visit over 1,600 Buddhist temples and 400 Shinto shrines, including Kinkakuji and Fushimi Inari Taisha. Find tranquility in the Arishiyama bamboo grove and admire the golden temples. I think I did a pretty good job with that Japanese, but maybe you can tell me if I was wrong. Okay, so enjoy modern spins. Another word they could have used here is twist or change. Okay, so we're talking about many years ago. You know, Japan is an old country. Some things from back then wouldn't be liked now, okay? Especially certain foods. Our tastes have changed over time. So we're making something from the past, but we're giving it a bit of a twist. We're giving it a spin so that modern day people like it. Okay, let's put that in another context. In my country, Chinese food is very popular, but it's not real Chinese food. It has a British spin on it so that British people like it. Okay, let's continue. So, classic Japanese dishes. A dish is a fancy word for a meal. So, classic Japanese meals. And visit over 1,600 Buddhist temples and 400 Shinto shrines. So if you live in Eastern Asia, you're probably used to shrines, you know, places where we go, we can pray, and maybe we can offer something to a god or to somebody who has died, perhaps. You know, people leave fruit, they even leave cigarettes in some places, and they light incense to give that good smell. That's a shrine, and that picture I just showed you is a Shinto shrine. Okay, let's continue with tranquility. Tranquility is calmness or peace, okay? So in the Arashiyama bamboo grove, you just hear nature perhaps, or perhaps it's even silent, and you can relax and just enjoy that peace and that calm feeling. And admire the golden temples. When you admire something, you look at it with either love or you're enjoying looking at it because of its beauty, perhaps. And the golden temples do sound quite beautiful, so you might enjoy looking at them. You might admire them. Our next location is Chefchaouen in Morocco. Located in the Rif Mountains of Morocco, Chefchaouen is a centuries-old city painted in exhilarating shades of blue. Its origins are mysterious, but it offers a relaxed and unique glimpse into the history and lifestyle of Morocco. Okay, so I'm going to start with the word centuries. Okay, obviously comes from century, and that means 100 years. So Chefchaouen is centuries old. So it is many hundreds of years old. And putting it together like that, centuries old, has turned that into an adjective. So describe this city, centuries old and beautiful, for example. And it's painted in exhilarating shades of blue. Something that's exhilarating makes you excited, or it makes you enjoy it a lot. So these shades of blue that they've used to paint the city make you feel really happy or really excited when you see them. Its origins are mysterious. You may know a similar word to origin, original, okay? The first one. So what we're talking about here is the beginning, its origins. It's mysterious. We don't know much about the origins. Maybe some people have ideas, but we don't really know. There's still a mystery there. But it offers a relaxed and unique glimpse. If it's unique, it means there is only one of it, okay? And let me teach you something extra. This uni at the start of something. This prefix means one, okay? So check out these words. You have a unicorn, which is like that horse, right? With a horn, just one horn. That's why it's a unicorn. And we have unicycle, which is a bike with just one wheel. And while we're on the subject, bi means two. So bicycle means two wheels. That's pretty cool, right? When we understand those little parts, then we can look at new words and have a good chance at understanding those too. And then we have this word glimpse. A glimpse of something is a very, very quick look at something. So we're getting a very quick look into the history and lifestyle of Morocco. Okay, so that's all of the vocab I want to go over today, but I want to just read through it one last time as a native without stopping, okay? And I'd like you to try to follow along. If you're finding it a bit too fast, remember you can slow down this video. Let's get started. The most beautiful cities in the world to visit in your lifetime. Chiang Mai, Thailand. Chiang Mai, a former trading outpost surrounded by vast mountain ranges, offers a mix of vibrant city life and picturesque landscapes. Explore the sacred Wat Palad temple complex during a day hike through the forest and indulge in the city's food and beverage scene. The rising art scene includes modern galleries like the Gong Di Gallery. Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town, shadowed by Table Mountain and bordered by the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, combines city bustle with natural beauty. Visit Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden to learn about native flora. Explore the colourful Bo Cap neighbourhood and enjoy diverse cuisines at the Neighbour Goods Market. Don't miss the Zeitz Museum of Contemporary Art Africa to discover African artists. Istanbul, Turkey. Istanbul's gardens and ornate buildings showcase opulence and ancient beauty. The city's history connects the East and West with preserved landmarks like the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque. Explore the city's rich heritage and artistic treasures. Kyoto, Japan. Kyoto, the old capital of Japan, exudes a sense of history with cherry blossoms, craft shops, and bustling food markets. Enjoy modern spins on classic Japanese dishes and visit over 1,600 Buddhist temples and 400 Shinto shrines, including Kinkaku-ji and Fushimi Inari Taisha. Find tranquility in the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove and admire the Golden Temples. Chefchaouen, Morocco. Located in the Rif Mountains of Morocco, Chefchaouen is a centuries-old city painted in exhilarating shades of blue. Its origins are mysterious, but it offers a relaxed and unique glimpse into the history and lifestyle of Morocco. Okay guys, that's it for today. If you have been enjoying these videos, please make sure you subscribe. That really helps me out a lot. And if you are subscribed, thank you very much. Would you mind liking this video to help more people find it? And again guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.